Welcome to Decoding the Code, the YouTube show for developers. Get ready for your host, Mark Backus.
Hello, I'm Mark, the host of Decoding the Code. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Since I'm a small content creator, that means a lot to me. So please consider doing it and enjoy the show. Hello and welcome everyone to Decoding the Code. Today with Debbie O'Brien. She is a former developer advocate at Nuxt. She is a beloved speaker at all kinds of Vue.js conferences. She is now a developer advocate at Bit or bit.dev. She is a Google developer expert. She has a coding YouTube and Twitch channel, and she recently got her GitHub star. Congratulations on that GitHub star. That's a big accomplishment. Debbie, how are you doing today?
Hey, Mark, I am doing great. I'm feeling like a star. I've got all my GitHub star swag on and I'm feeling like a star today.
You are a star. Own it. Amazing.
It's good. It's cool. I love it.
All right. So can you tell us a little bit to start off, like what is your experience in tech? When did it all start? Coding wise for you?
Oh my God, like how long do we have? Like it's a really, really long story. So I kind of like don't want to bore people with all the details because we could just talk about this for so long. But basically to cut it short, I started coding at a very basically I was building websites before we even had the internet, right? So very long time ago. But the internet was very boring. So I kind of, after my first job, I got bored and, Amazon was like a blue screen with like books and that was it, no pictures. So I left, went to Mallorca to work as an entertainer in a hotel. And I had fun for many years and I went traveling. And then I kind of decided I need to get, I needed a proper job, right? Because there's only so much fun you can have in life, you need to like start working properly. So I went back to studying and at the time it was Flash, then it was WordPress, a little bit of PHP, but like, very basic kind of stuff I was doing. And then I got some jobs in front-end development, working in HTML and CSS. I was very, very good at that, but that's all I did, right? I was the typical old front-end developer who, just passed it then on to the programmer who did all the coding skills. And we were like the front end didn't know how to program. They just did HTML and CSS, right? That's what it was considered. So after a while of working in a lot of startups that kept losing money and shutting down, and I kept getting unemployed. So I was being an English teacher and trying to do some web design, like building websites for bars, for restaurants, for taekwondo clubs, for anything I could do to get experience.
As many people, as I see on Twitter nowadays, are doing exactly that. So
you have to start somewhere. So, you just got to go around the bars, knock on doors.
Yeah, it's a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's terribly paid. It's terribly paid. Like going around building WordPress websites doesn't make you a lot of money, but it gives you some experience and it gets you going. Sure. And then basically I was trying to get work and I couldn't get a job because I had now become unskilled, right? Because I didn't know JavaScript, I didn't know React, I didn't know Vue, I didn't know Angular, I didn't know any of these. And any job interview I went into, do you know Webpack? No. Do you know testing? No. Do you know this? No. So I was just unemployable. So I knew that I had to learn JavaScript in order to be able to get employed. The thing is, I paid for so many courses to try and learn JavaScript and I failed so many times. Yeah, it was like the courses where, we didn't have chats back then, right? So you're learning through emails and emails back and forth to tell you you're missing a semicolon and, you just get frustrated.
Yeah.
So I ended up giving up on myself and I decided that's it. I'm just going to become an English teacher. And it's not like there's nothing wrong with it being an English teacher, but I was teaching English like very like people after work or in offices and stuff. So the hours were terrible. The money was terrible. So it wasn't a great job, even though like it can sound like a great job. It wasn't. And some people do it very well and it's great, but it didn't excite me, right? I was bored. I was going into work every day, just kind of like bored. And then basically something changed in my life where pretty much a life-changing experience happened, right? Where life told me this was not going to happen for you. And I had to make a decision. And I was like, right, what do I want to do in my life? What do I want to do? Because is this it? Because if this is it, this is pretty bad. And so I gave up my job as an English teacher. We had savings from our wedding that we end up just I spent all our savings and decided if I'm going to give it one more try and get a proper job and try and, learn JavaScript finally and become a proper programmer, a proper front-end developer. And I basically just, gave up my English teaching job and just studied full-time for 9 months, nonstop, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. I was crazy. I just knew, like, I mean, I'm not young, right? So I knew if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. I'm going to put everything into it. And if at the end of the year, I don't have a job, I'll just go back to being an English teacher, but at least I'll know I'll have tried. And that's what I did.
Wow, that's quite a journey you have behind you. You said you moved to Mallorca. Where did you move from?
So I'm from Ireland, from Ashford, County Wicklow. And yeah, it's very different.
It sounds even difficult to spell.
No, it's a beautiful, beautiful place, but it's a very small village, right? And I've gone smaller because I've gone to a small island, but here's a very beautiful island. But the thing about moving to Mallorca was, Mallorca is great. We have like beautiful mountains, beaches, etc. But it wasn't a very good career decision because trying to get a good job in technology in Mallorca was very, very difficult. Yeah. You're very limited.
Yeah, I imagine it's full of tourists probably, and it's more like living where others make vacation. It must also be a little bit like, oh man, they're all going to the beach and I'm going to be teaching English or coding.
Yeah, no, it's not so bad because I live I live in Palma, so I don't live in the tourist area. So it's more the residential area. And remember, you can still go to the beach. So, you don't have to go to the beach all day. You can go for an hour. So that's cool. You get the best of both worlds.
All right. And for how long have you been doing developer advocacy now? For how long?
So 2 years, I guess now. Yeah. Like, is it 2 years? No. It's hard to say because if you count being paid or not being paid is a different story, right?
I just remember in Vue.js Amsterdam 2020. No. Yes. No. Yeah, 2020, where you entered Nuxt.js officially. Yes, 2020. Yeah. That's right. Was that more or less when you started doing that?
So yeah, that was like, because obviously I was advocating for Nuxt way before that, but I wasn't actually getting paid, right? As in most people who start off advocating, you go out there, you spread the love of what you enjoy doing, of the product or the tool that you're using, and you're advocating, right? So I do think, like, a lot of us are programmers and we might not be getting paid. So a lot of us are developer advocates and we might not be getting paid. So it's, like people who are ambassadors are advocating and they're not getting paid. So yeah, so basically last year was when I first started as a developer advocate, officially being paid by Nuxt, which was an incredible opportunity. And I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. They came up to me, they approached me at the conference and had a chat and, said like, they've just got funding for Nuxt and they wanted me to be part of the team. And I was like, oh my God, you want me? Like, this is incredible.
They decided that during the conference?
Yeah. We had in the speakers room, everything happens in the speakers room.
Oh, I have to get in there. I have to talk to Josh about it. Joking, not so much. Okay, yeah. So you said developer advocate. The question that I had when I see so many people having developer advocate in their Twitter bio is actually, what is a developer advocate? What does one do as a developer advocate? Can you walk us through a little bit of the tasks?
I think it's easier to say what one doesn't do. Yeah, a developer advocate does like many different things, and it also depends on the company. So, between companies, again, it's very different. But basically, like, we're advocating for the product for the developers, right? My clients, if you were to kind of put it in that way, are the developers. I care about what the developers think, what they see, what they say to me. So I basically work very, very closely with the developers in trying to create better developer experience. Trying to help them use the product and learn how to use the product by creating documentation, by creating blog posts, by creating video tutorials, and reaching out to the community to find out, is this working? Is this good? Do they like this? What do they need? What's working with the product? What's not? And then giving that feedback back to the product team to then make that product better, because we need to listen to the developers because, right, these are the people that are using the tool at the end of the day. It's really, really important.
So you're not selling the product per se. You are helping others using it.
Yeah, you
Basically.
see, the sales manager in our company, he's like, Debbie, you're selling. And I'm like, I am not selling. I said, I actually don't care. This might sound a bit crazy, but I don't care if, you buy the product, don't buy the product, if you invest money, if you don't invest money. I don't even know how much the product costs. I actually don't care about figures, right? Obviously I care because I need to get paid, right? So,
Yeah.
obviously like there's a limit to my caring, but it's not part of my interest to sell something to you. I'm just sharing the love I have for the product. If you decide you want to use it, then you can use it. And if it's not a fit for you, if you don't like it because you like something else, that's cool. Like just take Nuxt, for example, right? I will try and
Yeah.
Nuxtify you, and you might come along and say, no, I don't want to use Nuxt. I want to use Angular. And you think Angular is better for you. Perfect. Angular is a great solution. It's not the solution I love, but everyone has a different opinion and you're looking for something different. So,
Yeah.
you just have to not sell, but just show people the product that you are trying to advocate for and Nuxtify them, or now I'm bitifying them, and then let people make up their own choices at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, that's one thing I love about that role, that you take away the sales in order to basically make more sales, but on a way more human level, because you are genuinely just connecting with people in order to find out what they like, what they don't like, help them if they need help, and so on. And I think is probably the best selling technique there is.
Yeah, without using the word
it,
selling, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you see,
It's not.
a good product sells itself,
Yeah,
right? You just need sometimes a little bit of marketing for people to know about it. You need advocating for people to hear about it.
yeah,
But a good product will pretty much sell itself if it's what people are looking for. So you don't have to put so much effort into kind of like, right, come on, we need this money. We need to get so many companies on board, and we need all this. Yeah, that would drive me crazy. No, you just want to go out there and say, right, this is the product. It's going well. Now, developers, what do you think?
yeah.
And maybe you don't like it. Why do you not like it? Oh my God, what's happening here? And then you tell me, oh,
Yeah.
this doesn't work. Oh, let's fix that. That's a great idea.
I think you are done made for that role. Like, you're very a human person, if I might be. So can you tell us what is your very favorite part of being a developer advocate for Nuxt or for Bit or in general?
That's a hard question.
Let's say your top 3 things that
Yeah,
you love
I think
about your
that's
job.
easier because I like a lot of things about my job, and that's why I like being a developer advocate, because I'm not just doing one thing, right? I love speaking at conferences, because for me, speaking at conferences, when they're real, is getting on a stage and sharing your knowledge with the people and networking with people afterwards. And you just that's one of the things I absolutely love doing, right? Another thing I love doing is actually programming. And that's really, really, really important to me. I love building things. I love, I get so excited when something works. Like I struggle, I go crazy. My head's like, oh my God, this doesn't work. And then when it works, I'm like, yes, I dance around my room. I get so excited, right? And I love that feeling. And don't ever take that feeling away from me, and just put me as a developer advocate who only speaks at conferences and writes blog posts, because then I would be like, I'm not building. So I need to be building as well. And I'm really, really enjoying, I guess you could say I love this, what we're doing now, the interviews, the videos and the Twitch streams, that kind of thing where you're like connecting with people in a different way, but like through the internet, right? Which is something that I was never doing before. And we weren't doing all this stuff before. And it's quite nice as well.
What I wanted to ask you is, what does a typical day look like for you as a developer advocate? A regular day, not this.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a typical day. I mean, I don't think any of my days are ever the same. I'll kind of go through, I don't know what I did today. Like today I got up at 7:00. I went into the office, which is like the room next to the bedroom, and turn on the computer. And then I go into my Discord virtual office, and I started working on something I'm trying to build, which is building the documentation into the product. So people don't have to go to the docs, but they get the docs in the product. So I'm working on this. And it's, it's building and it's crashing and it's not doing what I want it to do. And I'm getting frustrated. So then I go to the gym and I go and do some sport, and then I come back and then I keep building again. And now I'm doing a podcast interview. And later on, I might do a Twitch stream. I might study some. I might write a blog post. It just depends on what I want to do. Like, I think I get the freedom to do what I want to do, which is the great thing about my job, because I'm allowed to decide when I should do what I want to do. So if today I'm not feeling
Cool.
like building something,
Yeah.
I might write a blog post because I might be feeling that kind of like creativeness of just chilling and writing, or I might fix documentation because it's like, but yeah, it's there's no typical day, and that's what I love about it. It's not boring. There's no,
Yeah, that
it's
sounds
cool.
actually very interesting. Where can I sign up?
Yeah, come join us.
Very quick, what is it exactly what Bit does? Because I didn't really look into it. Can you
Shame
tell
on
us a
you,
little
Mark.
bit?
Shame on you. You should have researched it all. You should have started building it in. No problem.
But then I wouldn't have the possibility or the opportunity to ask you about it.
Okay, so it's a very difficult question, right? Because it's a massive product. It does a lot of really cool things. I'm going to try and give you the short version so we don't just spend the whole time talking about what Bit does. But basically is, I like to kind of think of it as Bit is the solution to all your problems, right? That's a great answer. So Bit is a way for you to share components through the cloud with different organizations, different repos, different teams across, different platforms, different countries, different whatever you want. So you might think, okay, sharing components, that's easy. That's kind of like NPM packages and stuff. But I like to think it's like NPM packages with superpowers, right? It's like we use NPM, but it's not an NPM package. We go to the Bit Dev Cloud, and your component, for example. So when you export your component, imagine me and you are working together, Mark, right? And we're living in different countries, we're working together on the same team, and I'm building something, and then, I'm off for a couple of days, right? And I've exported this component. It's my component, but it's broken, something's wrong, and transaction is failing, and you got to fix it. So you can import that component into your workspace, into your repo, which it doesn't live there, right? So you can import it in, and then you can modify that component, make that fix. Now that component is fixed, you can export that component, right? Now that's going to fix that. You're going to go to production, and then you say, right, I don't want that component in my workspace, in my VS Code or wherever you're using, because that's not my component. And so you eject it, and then it's back to wherever I want it to be, right? So it's kind of like a very easy way of you modifying a component without having to clone my repo, download it, modify the component, and then push that component, etc. So you stay in your environment, and you just import things in, modify it, export it, tag it, version it. You got then loads of different versions of components. Nice. If you change that component, it will update then the dependence. What it depends on will also get a bumped version. And all this kind of goes on. It's all like magic sometimes, right? But it's a great way of being able to share components and just kind of be able to kind of separate the workflows of people without having one big, say, monorepo, for example, and then you're stuck kind of sharing things in one place and you can't put it somewhere else, and then you struggle, right? So Bit just makes your life easier, and it's an amazing tool. It's in public beta at the moment, so it only has the React and React Native and Node support. And when we say components, you can share components. Components could be serverless functions. They could be React hooks. They don't have to be UI buttons and the typical product card, right? They can be anything. And yeah, we're releasing features every single day. The other day, last week, I created a generator. So you now just have to go Bit, create new component, and then you get all the files for your component from your docs, the test file, the compositions file. It's all done for you. And then you just got to code. It's cool. So yeah, it does a lot of cool things.
This only works with the React?
For now, because the new version, obviously it's still in beta. So we're breaking things and making things better, right? So not breaking so much, but we're adding new features all the time. So it's easier to concentrate on one environment and fix everything or make everything better, add all these features, and then you add the other environment. Now we already have someone on the Angular environment working on that right now. So we're going to have Angular support very soon. And Vue support will be the next one after the Angular support, right? So just in steps. But it will be there. I'm working on that and making sure of it. So don't worry. But even if you don't know React, you can actually still go and use Bit, because I've created this generator, and you can just generate a component, and you can play with Bit, and you can play around with it, see if you like it. You can export a component, open a Create React app, import that component, and just use it and see how it works. And it's really easy to do.
I will try that out, because funnily enough, yesterday or the day before, I Googled how can I somehow export and share my components through the internet, or maybe with just another team or something. And this is sounds exactly something that my client would would greatly benefit from. So when the Vue version is there, I will definitely take a look at it.
Yeah. I mean, you could use the legacy version for Vue because that one supports Vue, but the new version is so much better that it's almost me like saying it's worth the wait. But if you really needed something, you
Okay.
could use the legacy version and test it out. But the new version is just incredible.
All right, nice. Well, that sounds like a lot of cool stuff, and you can advocate for it, so that's nice. How was transitioning from a regular role to a advocacy role? How was the transition, and how did you feel about doing that transition?
So I think I was very much ready to leave what I was doing to come into advocacy. I was ready, but I didn't feel confident enough or didn't think I was good enough to do it. So I was like, this is what I want to do. I was working towards it. I was like looking at, job applications. I was like, I want to do that. That sounds like a great company. I want to work there. This one could be good. This one could be good. And then I'm like, but am I good enough? I'm not good enough. I don't think I can do that.
The usual stuff that developers tell each other. Oh, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome living in your head all the time.
Always. It does my head. And it's like, go away. But yeah, I was leading people at the time. And there's nothing wrong with people. I love people. But sometimes leading people is hard work because you end up almost babysitting. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I really don't. But you end up not actually developing because you're constantly like, you could be teaching people, which is great, but you're also like fixing, little things, and you got to deal with people's time off, and this person can't work today, and this client wants this, and they can't have this because and you're just like, I'm not developing anymore. I'm just leading. I'm a leader, and that's great, but I want to be a developer again. I want to, and I still want to speak at conferences. And how can I develop and speak at conferences but not lead people? I'm now head of developer advocacy, so we might get people in my team one day and I might have to lead people. But I think leading developer advocates is very different to leading a team of junior developers, because developer advocates just lead themselves. They don't need leading. They need, I don't know, like feed ideas off each other more than anything else, right?
It's about
like kind of
only the network you have to build between. It's different. It's different because I think they don't have like these specific tasks that now you fix this bug, or now you do this chore. I imagine, just from what you told me, I imagine it's not something like that. It's more, as you say, more free, and you can choose what you do basically.
Yeah, you have to come up with the tasks, right? You have to be the one that finds the missing pieces and add them, because no one else is seeing what you're seeing or hearing from the developers what they want. So you got to come back with all these ideas and then try and implement them. And, maybe they're wrong, and test them out, and maybe they actually don't work, because sometimes people say, oh, I'd love this feature. And then you like implement it, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's not as good as I thought it would be. Yeah, no, I won't use that. And then they're like, oh no. So it's all about trying to find things that are not there, as opposed to like the obvious tasks that, that you see in the front end, for example, that need fixing or need adding, etc. But yeah, it's fun.
And you say it's fun, but what would you say is the biggest challenge of this role?
I guess for me in this role in Bit is understanding the product code, because there's a lot of code. And for me joining Bit, it's all in React and TypeScript. So I'm like thrown in the deep end, and I'm swimming in a sea, and I have no idea where I'm going and what I'm seeing, right? So that's been my biggest challenge. But in developer advocacy in general, I don't know what the biggest challenge is. I think, like, obviously you have to reach out to developers. That's your biggest challenge. And how you do that is up to you, right? The internet makes it very easy to be able to do that, because you can do like what you're doing now, Mark. You're doing a podcast interview. This is great. You're reaching out to developers, but you have to then be that kind of outspoken person to try and make that kind of impact. Now, if you're not that type of person, and you're not like me, and you're that shy person that doesn't want to be like, like yourself on the video and stuff, you could reach out through blog posts, through other things. But yeah, connecting to people is the hardest thing, but it's also the easiest thing if you get it right.
Oh, cool. That's a nice note.
Yeah, just be everywhere. Just like be on internet, be on YouTube, be everywhere. People will find you, and then
Yeah, it's difficult though to be everywhere. it's
Mm-hmm.
it's extremely hard to maintain social media presence, also dealing with all the negative stuff that happens there that you're supposed to block out but not always able to, and so on. And then being on another platform and another platform, and then maybe you are on Instagram, because there are also a lot of developers there. You can reach out to them there. You can make some little reels, or how are they called there, with some like small snippets. The ones that, how is she called? Cassidy.
TikToks? You mean on Cassidy Williams?
Cassidy Williams.
Yeah.
The stuff she does for Netlify, it's amazing. It's like 20 seconds thing, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you can do this. I showed you how,
Yeah.
this and this and this, and it's done. That kind of stuff. Like, yeah, and then you have
she's great.
to learn those new social media and so on. It's not easy, even just being present, not even advocating for anything. Like, I'm just a developer. I'm good on Twitter at the moment, but I want to do other things, and it's really time consuming if you do it a part of your job. If it's your job doing that, it's a little bit easier. But
I mean, time is the hardest thing. Finding the time to do things. And what I've found is that I've been doing Twitch lately, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And I just go on Twitch and I have something to build at work, and I'm like, right, I'm live, I'm going to build this. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm literally fishing into this code, trying to figure it out. And I'm talking to myself out loud, and there's 10 people watching me for absolutely no reason that I know of whatsoever. And they're probably laughing at me going, Debbie has no idea what she's doing. And then sometimes they kind of say, oh, you're missing this. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And then they help me out, and I end up building it, and I finish the Twitch stream, and I've done my job, and I've built the product, and I've also done some, advocacy work and just reached out to the community as well, all at the same time. But that takes a lot of guts to do, to be able to just go out there and say, and be honest and say, I actually don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to learn and teach at the same time. And someone might learn and someone might not learn. But the objective is for me to actually build this feature. And I just happen to be on Twitch at that time as well.
You know what? I've been pushing that for the longest time, doing like a live stream of me coding something.
Yeah.
Like,
what's stopping you, Mark? What's stopping you?
I don't know. My ego, probably.
Yeah, but this is terrible. We all do this.
I know.
I was the same. And then I don't know if you know Obina from Gatsby, right? But I had a chat with him one day, and I said, right, if you're going to say it 3 times, right? Because he was doing it with the gym. He's like, I'm going to go to the gym. We have a gym downstairs. I'm going to go to the gym. And I was like, right, that's it. I mean, you say that 3 times and you haven't gone. No, that's it. If you say it 3 times, stop saying it. Stop promising yourself you're going to do something, right? Because you're not going to do it. Or after 3 times, just do it. So stop talking about it or do it. So now, Mark, you got to stop talking about this Twitch, or you just got to do it.
Oh man, probably going to be YouTube, but anyway,
that's fine. YouTube's cool too.
But the thing is, I've been doing Vue.js for a long time. I do but then since version 2, and then it's like version 3, and then I want to inspect version 3, and then it's a lot of different. And then I want to also do something with Nuxt. I actually have. This.
Yay!
Sticker. Are you Nuxt? So for the ones that are listening to the podcast, not the video, I'm holding up a sticker that says "Are you Nuxt?" It's actually, I didn't get it from a conference. Someone on Twitter sent it to me because I said, I posted a photo of my laptop that has a lot of stickers on it, and they were like, "Hey, where's the Nuxt stick?" And I was like, "I don't have one. I was looking for some at conferences. I didn't find any." And they were like, "Oh, I have a bunch. I can send them to you," which was a very nice gesture. Now I have some stickers left to put maybe on something else, my water bottle, for example. We drifted a little bit, of course, which is not bad. The next question I wanted to ask you, is there any personal trait someone should have in order to be a developer advocate? Being like super open, like you, I don't even know how to call it.
Outgoing.
Outgoing is a word. You need to be very outgoing. Do you need to be super technical into the product, or is there something, a personal trait someone needs?
I think it's different, and everyone has different skills. And that's what makes the developer advocacy role so varied, and that can attract so many different people. I'm really bad at content writing, in my opinion. I write very, I don't think I write technically very technical kind of stuff. I write very like teacher, like I'm teaching you something kind of way, right? So it's very
Yeah.
different. Someone else can come along and write technical, like proper technical documentation and have that skill and be much better at that than me, right? I'm very outgoing, so I'm really good at speaking because I've been working on it on a stage for many years as an entertainer. So I love the stage and the microphone, so I have that skill, right? Not everyone needs to be a speaker. I'm only learning to do this live coding and the Twitch stream, but I've never been on a stage doing live coding. I look at people doing live coding, like Natalia, from the ViewCore team. She's amazing. She is incredible. She'll get on a stage and just live code, and I'm like, oh my God, how does she do that, right? So we all have different skills, and I think that's important to remember. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be like Natalia. You don't have to be like someone else. You can be whoever you want to be and just do the best you can be. I think, yeah.
Yeah, you're making this developer advocacy thing sound more and more appealing.
It's the best job in the world. I'm telling you, it is the best job in the world.
Probably not only to me, but to also the people probably that are listening. It sounds very appealing to me right now. I have to look for some.
Yeah, because you get to build stuff and you get to talk to people and you get to network and you get to write content and you just have to find the right company. This is the thing. This is key, right? You have to find the right company and the right product. I could never work for a company or a product that I did not believe in. If I was going to like try and advocate for something I didn't believe in, I would do a terrible job.
It doesn't work.
I wouldn't enjoy it. I'd be like pushed into writing content for something I don't like. I couldn't do that. So find something you're passionate about, find something you love, and then developer advocacy is easy.
Yeah, I think it's completely against the point of the role if you're not convinced of the product. It's like you need to be, it's like, I don't know, it's part of the job description or part of the role even existing. It needs to be authentic, in my opinion. All right, so what I also do on this show is that I present the speaker with myths that I found on internet about the topic at hand, in this case, developer advocacy. So I would ask you, present you with some of these myths, and you can tell us your thoughts about them. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Okay, the first one, developer advocates for selling a product. I think we already kind of...
I would say no, but you have to read between the lines, right? Because I think it is true in a way, because I might, the product might get sold because they saw me talk at a conference about the product. Right. So it's an indirect sale can happen because of developer advocacy, but it's not a direct sale. You're not going to that customer and trying to sell. But obviously everything you do in developer advocacy, the idea of it is that it does eventually get to a sale by someone somewhere along the line. I mean, that's the reality, right?
It's like brand presence. Like you need to be present a little bit everywhere, but doing cool
you can
stuff, helping people.
You could go to a conference and speak to 1,000 people about the product. And remember, you're actually you're not really doing a marketing speech about, okay, everyone, you should buy this product, you should do this. No, you're basically helping people see how their problems can be solved. And the solution happens to be the product that you're using or that you're talking about, right? And then from that 1,000 people, so many people might end up signing up for accounts and you actually have no idea, because it's not of your interest to go and talk to the people, sign their names and come back to your job and say, right, 50 people signed up, right? That's not part of the job. And that's what's great. So
which brings me to the second myth, coincidentally. Developers don't like to be marketed to. Is that,
they don't. Completely they don't. I don't want someone to try and sell me something. I don't want to buy anything, right? And remember that the developers are normally not the ones that are dealing with the money either, right? It's not their money to spend. So they need a solution. Developers need a solution to the problems so they can go to the top person, to the architect or to the CEO or to the CTO or to whatever and say, I have this solution and I've tested it out and this works, and let them deal with how much it costs and what the whole kind of, enterprise stuff is, right? But developers want solutions and they want someone to show them new cool things that are going to help them do a better job.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because the developers and the developer advocates work together, and then the salesperson and the accountant or the CEO, CTO, whatever,
or whatever,
decision maker work together later. So it's a perfect role to work together with other developers. I've never seen it, looked at it that way, but it's nice. Like you work together on this level, and then the other people
Yes.
work
Send them
together on
off,
their
right? Phew,
level.
lift it up, phew, phew, and let them connect.
Yeah, nice. Didn't it's yeah. I'm more and more convinced that to do something. Well, I'm my own boss, so
Oh, there you go. You're all right
it's
then.
yeah, but yeah, it's maybe also even not full time, but yeah, it's another thing for another day. Yeah, the next myth is being opinionated. No, being opinionated is a bad thing.
Well, why would it be a bad thing? I mean, I have my opinion, and I think
Yeah,
I always give my opinion, but you have to respect everyone else's opinion. So you
yeah,
can't be like, my opinion is the only opinion. And like I could say to you, right, bid is the solution to your problems. That's my opinion. And I think you should use it. And you go, no, I don't think
yeah,
so. I'm like, no, 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 you have to take my opinion. No, like your opinion is very valid, and you might have other reasons, and you see things that I don't see because I'm only seeing like this. I've only built with, this. Maybe you have a completely different application in a different way teams are working, that you see something I'm not seeing. So, you have a very good opinion. I think it's very important for when it comes to developer advocacy to I like to say to people and to developers, right? Okay, you might not, same with Tailwind, right? You remember when Tailwind was like,
yeah,
and the thing I used to say was, try it out, just test it out, give it 2 weeks,
yeah,
give it 2 weeks, and then come back and then give me a different opinion. But don't have an opinion straight away without having tried it. And I
yeah.
mean, try it for, a couple of weeks, because it took me 2 weeks to like Tailwind. After 2 weeks, now I'm like, I love Tailwind. It's the best thing in the world, right?
Same here. When I made my website, I was like, okay, I'm going to redo my website with Nuxt, and then maybe Tailwind. And then at first it was like, oh man, I have to look up all these new properties. It's like, and then my markup looks like so huge and chunky, and then I'm like, okay, if it's put right in the components, and like it even forces you to make more components or make your components more mindful, then you are like, oh man, I love it. Like after, as you say, after a week or two, it's like, oh man, I need to even advocate for this without being paid. Like
Yeah.
you go on Twitter, and like after the first 2 weeks, you go on Twitter and like, oh man, Tailwind is so awesome. And then you see people like, oh yeah, it's awesome. And other people are like, oh no, I don't like the markup looking. Yeah, it's a valid opinion. So I don't know why this was a myth that it's a bad thing, because like if we don't have opinions, who are we? Like you can't, like you should always be able to express your opinion, but not force it onto others, as you said.
Exactly. It's like with Nuxt, right? And I would say Nuxt is my favorite framework. Everyone, you should all just use Nuxt. And you might come along and say, yeah, but I'm a React developer and I really like Next. Well, you know what? Next is actually a really good framework as well. So if Next works for you, perfect. Nuxt works for me, and yeah, like everyone just have their own opinions and play around with things, and then it's all cool.
It's a great thing about our, how do you say, not our branch, it's a French word, our branche, or let's say
Yes.
that there's a new thing, like so many things, and they are all great, or most of them are great, and you can really pick any of those, and you almost can't miss.
And most of the time we say we have a strong opinion about something because we don't know enough about it. So like a lot of like, me personally, I would have been like, oh my God, I don't like React. I don't want to work in React. Why? I'm now working in React and I'm really enjoying working in React. But why did I not like it 6 months ago? Because I didn't know it enough. And because in Nuxt, I was able to build applications really quickly. And then you put me into React and I can't build anything. So I don't like it because I don't know what I'm doing, right? But it's not because I don't like it because there's something wrong with it. It's just because I'm not good at it. And that's something that, like, when you practice something, you get better at it, you start to like it more. And that's kind of like, a lot of people say, I don't like this because they probably never even tried it, and they haven't spent enough time doing it. So therefore they're not good enough at it. And therefore they can't like it because they're not able to see the value of it and, get the job done or get something done quickly.
Yeah, maybe that's why I don't like React that much, because I did my website in React and I didn't have a good time doing it. Yeah, maybe I should take another stab at it. But
yeah, I'm really really enjoying working with React at the moment, and learning like the differences between Nuxt and React at the same time, and like kind of understanding, right, the React context. Is it like the Nuxt context? It's not. Oh my God, what's going on here, right? And I love being able to compare the two and understand how the two are so different but yet so similar. And it's actually, everyone should learn more than one framework for sure. It really helps.
Yeah. Does it mean you're not doing Vue and Next things anymore?
At the moment in my day job, I'm not, because I'm like, heavily in kind of React and in JavaScript and TypeScript, but it doesn't mean I'm not doing anything else. My website is still in Nuxt. So anytime I add stuff to my website, that's still in Nuxt, right? And I was doing a Nuxt workshop there recently. I was giving at one of the conferences. And obviously when we have Vue support, then I'll be doing like Nuxt demos and, Nuxt template generators. But at the moment, and it's kind of good at the moment that I'm just concentrating on React, so I can kind of improve my skills without having to kind of do the two at the one time, because that's kind of hard.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, if you start implementing Vue, maybe write me a DM and let's see where it goes. Okay, the last thing. Oh no, the second last thing. A developer advocate should know everything there is to know on the technical level.
Yes, they have to know absolutely everything. Like if you don't know everything, forget about it. You can never, ever, ever, ever be a developer advocate. I mean, that's obvious. It's impossible to know everything. And it drives me crazy that I don't know everything, and I hate it, and it kills me. It will always, always get the better of me, because I want to know everything, and I keep wanting to. It's like this kind of like mountain that you're climbing, right? And you're feel like you're never, ever, ever getting to the top, because as soon as you think you're doing well and you've almost mastered something else comes along, and now you got to learn this new thing. And now you're you're not even halfway up the mountain anymore. And you're like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Yeah.
They add stuff on top of the mountain to make it bigger, right?
Yeah. It's a never ending climb, but it's fun. You have to enjoy learning. If you don't enjoy learning, then you should never go into developer advocacy.
Yeah. You have to think about, I often see Evan Yu in interviews, he is the creator of Vue.js, and someone asks a question about something very specific about Vue.js, and he's like, I have no idea. Why don't you ask Kia King about it? Because he is the one that implements it. So that's probably the very best example. And so many people look up to him, and he absolutely knows what he's doing, and it shows that you don't need to know every aspect of even your own creation. So that should take away the developer, the imposter syndrome for those.
It should, but it doesn't. It should, but it doesn't.
It should, but it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw Evan Yu on the GitHub Twitch, and he was showcasing Vite with Tailwind, and he was like, "How do I add a color in Tailwind? How do we add a color in Tailwind? How do we do that again?" And everyone's putting in the chat, text color red, and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And it's funny, you're like, what? Evan doesn't know Tailwind, but it's so easy, right? But remember that if you're not developing and using that technology all day, every day, you probably don't know it. And that's okay to not know it. And it's okay to forget things as well. I forget things.
Yeah, everyone does. The older you get, the more you forget.
Shh, don't say that word.
The more experience you get, the more. Okay, right. The last one. Developer advocates spend their days coding.
They might do, yes. I mean, I could spend, and again, it's what you choose or what the company requires you, depending on where you're working, right? One of the things about me joining Bit, and I was very, very clear in the whole interview process, was that I want to be coding a lot more than what I was doing in my previous job, right? I want to be building things. I want to doing almost more developer experience engineer mixed with, developer advocacy. I want to be speaking at conferences, but I don't want to be the main thing that I do. I want it to be more like me building those tools. So do I code every day? Yes, I code absolutely every day. There's not one day goes by that I do not open VS Code, and I do not open the terminal, and I do not code. I code every single day. But that's what I want.
That's nice when you want to get some sort of balance between I don't want to be all day just coding in front of VS Code, but also do other cool things like exploring new stuff and connecting with others, and but also don't like managers that just manage and don't code. It's also the other extreme of only coding, right? So
that's what I was doing before I joined Nuxt, right? I was managing and I wasn't coding. I was teaching people how to code. I was teaching them all Nuxt. I was architecting everything. I was looking over everything. I was overseeing everything, performance, but I wasn't actually building anything. And I was like, I'm losing my skills. My fingers don't know how to do anything anymore. But my brain is good, but my fingers are not quick enough. And I didn't like it. And some people do, right? Some people get to a stage where like, that's what they want to do. And that's great because then they're happy doing that. But I wasn't happy doing that. I wanted to go almost backwards and not be a manager and be a developer because I just wanted to develop more.
Yeah. All right. So that was the last myths I wanted to debunk with you. Thank you for your answers. Is there something else you want to give others on their way if they are like, oh, maybe this developer advocacy is something for me? What can they look into? What is some advice you can give them? Is there something you want to tell?
I would say Sam Julian has written a very, very good book about it that I highly recommend. You can buy it on the internet. It's very cheap. And he goes into like, like what we've talked about, but in a little bit more detail. So if you really, really want to get into the role, I would encourage you to read his book. And also, I would encourage you to start doing the job before you get the job. It's very hard to become a developer advocate until you've actually done it for free. So join the programs like OutZero's ambassador program, right? Start off doing programs like that can get you in there. Start writing blog posts about what you're interested in, about what you love, and get that out there. Try to speak at conferences, meetups, online. There's a lot of them online. A lot of them are looking for speakers. Try and just get out there and push yourself, right? It's really, really hard because you think, and I'm actually doing mentoring for the Road to GDE, Google Developer Expert.
Yeah.
And I have a new mentee. And she said to me, you're all experts. And it's really hard for me to, get out there and do stuff because I'm not good enough. I'm not as good as you lot. And I just kind of said, hang on a minute. I said, you do CSS animations and your CSS animations are amazing. I don't know CSS animations. I can make a tiny thing move, but that's it, right? So you are now the expert here in this field, right? I might be the expert in something else, but you are the expert in this field. So concentrate on that. And that, yes, there will always be someone else who's better than you at this and who is, out there already doing cooler things. And that's cool too, right? But you are the expert of this, own it, and just go out there and start sharing that knowledge that you have because somebody else does not know that. Me, I don't know much about CSS animations. I'm not good at it. I can't do that stuff. I'd love to learn. I just haven't had the time. So I don't know it, right? We need to share knowledge. We need to be able to just go out there and share things without worrying about but someone else has already written a blog post on it. Someone else has already done a talk on that. Your point of view is going to be different to mine, right? Your way of writing things is going to be different. So just go out there and be yourself and write how you write and speak how you speak and share your knowledge with the world and just do it. We all have to keep doing this because if not, in a couple of years' time, there's going to be no more new information, right? So we've got to just keep sharing.
Yes, perfect. All right, that's a very nice note to end. Thank you very much, Debbie, for all your answers and for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. It's been very great having you, and I hope to see you around. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you, Mark. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in and watching the video till the end. Please give a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you next Monday.
Thank you for watching Decoding the Code. A new episode will be available every week, so don't forget to tune in next Monday. For past episodes, check out the website decoding.show.